You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
This is episode 200 of the Healthy Critters Radio on Horse Radio Network. Healthy Critters Radio is brought to you by BioStar US. Find them online at biostarus.com.
On today's show, we talk with Katarina Koefoed from Pure Equestrian on the ergonomical functions of the bridle. Critter of the show is the Shetland pony. Critter nutrition focuses on grief. Listen in. I'm Tigger.
And I'm Patty.
And I'm Coach Jen. Thanks for joining us, everybody. This is the time of the show where we have a little chit chat, find out what everybody's been up to since we got together last, and generally goof off. None of us have a very high energy level this afternoon as we record our show. So I thought it would be interesting to chat and find out if perhaps our energy level has dropped because of the season. It's coming into summer in a big, big way right now. And some people look at summer as the dog days of summer. It gets them down and they use this as an opportunity to hibernate. And other people look at summer as, yay, the days are longer. It's time for an adventure. So I thought I would quiz our co-host here on the Healthy Critters Show and find out which they are. And Tigger gave me some insight earlier before we got started in the show. So I'm going to ask her first. Is summertime hibernation or adventure for you?
Adventure.
Adventure. Do you tend to plan them, or is it just a case of the opportunities await and the world is my oyster?
Both.
Wow. I did not expect that. Do you think that's related to the fact that in the winter, you are dragged down to Wellington each season, and it's a highly stressful and extremely busy time for your business?
Yes.
So it's less the season than in the fact that it's not Wellington.
I think it's a season without Wellington.
Now, you are in Virginia, is that right?
Yes.
You're in Virginia. Virginia summertime is, I'm guessing the weather is fantastic most of the time?
I would say before climate change, it was good about 60 to 70% of the time. But the last couple of summers, it's gotten hotter and drier. And yeah.
And more brutal.
There's definitely a change.
More change. Now, do your adventures tend to include lots of travel, a little travel, or more of let me reconnect with my home?
Usually a big trip, like to Alaska.
Oh, your Alaska trips are pretty epic.
Yeah, they are.
Because you don't just go to Alaska and visit the tourist stops like the rest of us.
No. I go kayaking with the otters and.
Well, that's one way to make summertime an adventure is just go somewhere where the weather is gorgeous.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Alaska, at least, the southern part I go to is, the Alaskans at 60 degrees are in flip-flops and I'm in Patagonia.
Yep, absolutely.
And, for many years, I'd go out and visit my family in Montana, and my sister and my mother and I always took a girls' trip.
Oh. Now, are you from Montana, or does that just happen to be where part of your family landed?
Way back when, yes. And then my parents sort of reestablished themselves in Montana. And
so you've got deep family roots there.
Yeah.
Oh, neat. I think you need to make a road trip or just a trip to Montana sometime. And we need to record a podcast with you in Montana. I think that would be pretty fun. Tigger on the road adventures. Oh, what a great idea for a series. Oh my gosh. So Patty, how about you? Are you a summertime adventure or summertime hibernate person?
We always take our family trips in the summer. So I guess I always spend most of the summer looking forward to the first week in August. But I also, I tend to do a lot more horse showing So I end up traveling. Probably, I don't want to say it's not really that much more, but I do definitely travel a little bit more in the summer. But because I had kids at home for the longest time, summer was always the time when we could go and do stuff. So in my mind, it's always, about going and doing stuff. So it's, I would say more out there and adventuring and trying to do trips and, figure out ways to get out of the heat.
Because you are in Texas, right?
Yes, but I have to tell you, we're having one of the most spectacular springs. Like last summer was the hardest thing I've ever gone through, but it has been glorious. It's like today was like high 80s. Now I like the heat too. So, but high 80s, it's been a little bit more humid, but not bad at all. So
there you go. So it's your turn to get the good weather.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Yes. Some part of the country, some part of the world, every year, whatever season, they get, I'm going to use my air quotes, the good weather, and somebody else gets the sucky weather. Yeah. A little bit of a hibernate in the summer, I think, just because in Central Florida, and my horse has anhydrosis, so I can't ride him in the summer anymore. So that's caused me to hibernate a little bit, but I think if I get another horse who doesn't have anhydrosis, I may climb back out of my hibernate in the summer habit. Yeah. I may be re-inspired.
Hey, Jennifer, we're getting feedback from customers that our Chi Tonic is helping non-sweaters.
Really?
Yeah.
This is good to know. Chi Tonic. I'm going to Google that right.
It moves stagnation. And evidently you put it on give it to a horse twice a day. It's a liquid and they're starting to sweat.
I've got that on my screen right now. Well, we're just going to take this opportunity to talk about Chi Tonic, gooseberry, Indian gooseberry, or pine rose, and astral. How do you say that?
Astragalus.
Astragalus. Okay. So tell me why Chi Tonic might have that effect. I don't know.
Because in the tradition of Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine, the lack of perspiration is stagnation of the blood. So it's not, you're not getting good circulation. So by moving stagnation, you then end up being able to perspire. When I created the formula, that was not what I had in mind. Moving stagnation can also be gut related, muscle related, but several people from Ocala actually who have non-sweaters are reporting that the horses are starting to sweat on Chi Tonic.
So it's a liquid supplement. Is it something that can be poured onto a meal, or is it something that should be given to them via a dosing syringe?
Either way, I would personally use a syringe.
Just to make sure it all goes in there? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's one of those open-mouthed chewers anyway, so 2/3 of anything that goes in his bucket is on the floor.
Then you definitely want it. Yes.
Yeah. So helping rebalance beneficial colonies in the GI tract. And we know that the GI tract is connected to everything else.
Everything.
Supports red blood cell formation, cell metabolism. Well, cell metabolism is definitely is associated with sweating and nerve function. And nerve function also associated with the sweating process. Very interesting. I'm going to hit the add to cart button.
Good.
There we go. Wow, how cool. Thank you very much, Tiggy.
Yeah, no problem.
Because every spring he sweats a little bit and he does pretty good. But when summer for real gets here, when the temperatures barely get below 80 at night, he kind of levels off to that point where he only sweats enough that he's not in distress.
Oh,
but he doesn't sweat. There was absolutely no possibility of any riding happening.
No.
But anyhow, thank you very much for that. And anybody else out there who has a horse who has anhydrosis, Chi Tonic from biostarus.com may be something you should look into. But there we go. So interesting. So we're all in the at least a little bit of adventure season. Interesting. There we go.
So we are very blessed with our 200th episode to have a good friend of mine, Katarina Koefoed from Pure Equestrian, who actually does Equip saddles and also PS of Sweden bridles. Welcome to the show, Katarina.
Thank you so much.
So Katarina and I met probably about 2 years ago, and I had been riding in the Equip saddles and loved them. And she recently has been selling through Pure Equestrian the PS of Sweden bridles, and we were talking about the anatomical benefits of the bridle. And why don't you share a little bit, Katarina, how you even got into how Pure Equestrian even came about, and then explain about the bridles.
Yes, of course. So I have an accent. I'm from Sweden, and one of I live in Texas though. But so this must have been around 2016. I moved to Texas, and one of my friends from Sweden started a bridal line, and she contacted me and she said, "Hey, you need to try my bridles." And I thought, okay, a bridle doesn't make much of a difference. The saddle is most important. That was my sort of initial thought about it. But she shipped them to me in Texas, and I started to ride in those bridles, and I just felt such a huge difference. So she was the one who started, and she is actually the founder of the company. And then she came over and she explained everything to me, and what she said, even if, and she didn't do it to sell to me. She was a person I knew. So, and it really made a huge difference, and the horses loved it. And and coming from the medical device industry, where I learned about neurosurgery, orthopedics, and how the anatomy and all of that, I just started to develop a keen interest in it. How much of a difference it made for the horse to have also a well-fitted bridle. So
what type of differences did you see? Because obviously I ride in the bridle as well, and I can tell you what I like, but what were the differences that you've noticed?
Yes, I noticed so first I thought the crown piece or the head piece was really big. That was first because I wasn't used to it, but it's sort of curved out for the ear base, and it's relatively wide in the middle. So what it does is that it distributes the pressure over their poll, and it also avoids, horses are relatively sensitive around their head and ears, and it sort of avoids any kind of pressure over those sensitive nerves. And that was the first thing that really caught my attention.
That's my biggest thing that I think I like about it, is that I have so many different types of horses, and as you know, most of my clients have now bought your bridles, and we've noticed a really big difference in definitely the poll area, because a lot of horses, a lot of people don't know how to fit bridles, and quite honestly, it's some people try to do them too loose and some people do them too tight. And I think the biggest thing that I've liked about the piece that goes over the pole is that it, and I hate to use the word floats, but it just doesn't seem to cause any restriction. And at first, because we're in Texas, I was worried about the heat, and it's a little bit of a bigger piece of leather and blah, blah, blah. Well, I have found it to be so much less stressful with the horse that I feel like that's not even a remote issue. So what about the side pieces and how the noseband, because the one bridle, I think you said it's called the passage, I think is what you call it. I love how it's cut out for where the bit goes, and how it just so nicely, it's a wide noseband, but how nicely it sits over the brim of their nose, and how cushioned it is under the chin. So what are the anatomical parts to that of it, the bridle?
Yeah. So what I like, they have a lot of different options. So every time I go out and do a bridle fitting, I always ask, how is this horse to ride? Is it forward going, sensitive, this and that? And so for example, the passage bridle, it's very nicely padded, and it's also curved out to avoid any kind of pressure, and also especially also around the nose for sure, but then also around the teeth. Yeah. So if you've seen some of the drop nosebands bridle, they avoid any kind of pressure over where the teeth are, which is and then also in the end of the chic piece, there's a little cradle, which is a little bit elastic, which is optional, but it gives. And some horses like that, and that combined with this anatomical neck piece, it's a really nice combo, actually.
Yeah,
so
I would agree. And so another bridle that I really like is called, I'm not going to say it right. It's the Norak. Am I saying it right?
Nirak, yeah.
Nirak.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
That's also, can you talk about that a little bit? It's a dressage bridle. It's a little bit different looking. It's more, would you consider it more of a drop noseband type?
Yeah, it is. It is more of a drop noseband. Nirak is very unique in that aspect that it actually has the noseband is connected to the cheek piece. So if you look at any other bridles, the noseband is separate from the cheek piece. And because it's connected to the cheek piece, it's also, it distributes a little bit the force between the bit and the nose. Noseband. So then you don't need, so with horses that are a little bit, doesn't really, you can't go bitless, you need a bit, but you want to have, then this noseband will really help you. Many horses tend to be extremely, those who may be a little bit sensitive or a little bit bitty, or whatever you say, they get really calm in this bridle. So it's a really cool bridle in that aspect.
I think the benefits I've seen for one of my clients is that, her horse really, not that he was hard to get on the bit, but he definitely needed some help with that and not going to a stronger bit itself. I feel like that bridle had really put pressure in a nice, kind way in all the right spots and has really helped the horse become more supple through the mouth. He chews more and definitely salivates more. Okay, so those are the two bridles that I like, and I also know that they do jumping bridles as well. Is that, are these interchangeable for dressage and jumping?
Yeah, they do, and actually, the Nirak bridle is also very popular. It's popular in all disciplines. Actually, the Nirak bridle, and one of the things that I liked, it's a drop noseband, but it doesn't sit too low. So sometimes, so it's quite almost impossible to put it too low. So it put. So that's a really, but they do have jump bridles as well. And they have another new one that just came out after one of our famous Swedish jumpers. So we named it after his horse, King Edward. And that is a really nice one. It's also padded. He did it after his horse because he really doesn't like to have anything that is in his head area. Very sensitive. So it's nicely padded everywhere. Really, inside of the cheek pieces, and so so it's really there is really a bridle for every kind of different horse, and as we know, they're all unique in one way. So there is not one bridle fits all. There is a lot of different options and that's what I like about the range. So
So do you have a description on your website of each different type of bridle and like what they are good for, like what they tend to be good for, like an explanation of if you were looking for a bridle and someone went to your website. Now, obviously they can also call you, but if they wanted to do a little shopping online, would that be pretty self-explanatory on your website?
Yes, I do. And I'm also continuously working with different clients that I have helped, and we are also doing educational videos with them. So then people have a possibility to say, wow, okay, my horse is just like that horse. And we do like a video, which I'm uploading on my website as well. And what I also been trying to do is, what I are doing is that you can trial the bridle. So it's possible to, so it's possible to return it for another one. And if you don't want to do that at all, it's just a small restocking fee. So that's sort of the business concept. And I'm also sort of selling demo bridles for those who has a smaller budget, etc. So I want to cater to everyone, really. I think it's a great bridle for the horse. It's important to note that program that is through you, through Pure Equestrian. That's like a thing for all of PS of Sweden. So I think that makes that a little bit more unique because, years ago, I can't tell you how many people buy bridles and then they end up not really being the right one or it doesn't fit well and they can't exchange it or do whatever. So it's neat. It's pretty cool that you're offering that. I don't think I've actually heard that before. So and also horses might need a cob size around the nose and a full size around the neck, and then I can custom them. So
Okay. Well, wonderful. Is there anything else that you want to add that we haven't touched base on?
No, I think that sort of sums it up, and I'm very glad that you invited me to this radio show.
Oh, well, I'm glad you could do it. We've been talking about doing it forever, but I think the thing that I would like to just note for myself is how unique it is, because you are doing educational videos, because I think that a lot of people focus a lot more on saddles, and which is, again, you also ride in the Keep saddle, which I love, but doing this with the bridles is a little bit of a different concept that I haven't seen yet. So I appreciate your time. If anybody's interested, they can find what's the website?
It's Pure Equestrian. So pureequestrian.com, and it's only one E. So Pure Equestrian. Yes.
Well, that's that. I think it's time for us to get onto the phone, the world's only podcasting Pomeranian, and that would be Hedwig.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Hello, Hedwig. It's nice to hear your voice.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
What did you want to talk about, Hetty?
Well, I wanted to announce I've had a bit of a career change, and so it's likely that I will not be participating in this show in future.
Oh.
Hedwig, are you upwardly mobile?
Well, that is certainly one way to think of it. I have, it's a little difficult to discuss because I can't reveal all the details, but suffice it to say, I was approached by an organization that is often known with 3 letters. You might have heard of it. To do some work for them that only I could do if you understand my meaning.
Nope.
Not at all.
That's better. It's better. That means I'm doing my job beautifully.
You are. You're being
appropriately
cryptic. Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So essentially, if I may put it this way, your future safety is in my paws.
She's going to go work for the CIA, Tigger.
Wow. FBI.
Well, an agency with extraordinary power that can, in certain circumstances, take over the role of the federal government and unseat the president.
Is she gonna have her own TV show next year, Tigger?
Well, no, because I'm going to be working undercover.
It's going to be a film franchise, and it's going to come out in 2030. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Well,
I wonder who's going to star Hedwig.
I mean, I am star material, that is for sure. But
if we have learned anything over the past 200 episodes, Tigger, or Hedwig, is that you are star material.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I am extraordinary. And, as I embark on this new, quieter stage of my life in which I will not be as much in the public eye because I will be protecting and serving the public interest while potentially running the country, there's no need for you to be concerned at all, even a tiny bit, that perhaps you will be in any way subject to the whims of a tiny dog who is running your government.
Gotcha.
Not to worry, everything will be totally fine.
This is so an anime series waiting to be on Netflix.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh my gosh.
If at any time a national emergency is declared, you are in good paws.
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad that we are in good paws.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm so
But
glad.
we're gonna miss you, Hedwig.
Well, thank you. I, of course, will miss everyone as I work to develop new relationships and also reconnect with some old friends that I haven't seen in quite a while. So that'll be a really interesting, I think, set of relationships to rebuild and network from as I embark upon this new stage.
Oh my goodness, Hedwig, I'm so excited for you. I'm glad that you gave us a little teeny tiny glimpse into what's coming up for Hedwig, the world's only Secret Service, CIA, FBI, Pomeranian.
Pomeranian.
Yes, just keep saying letters and you'll be fine.
And now it's time for the breed of the show.
So we are at the breed of the show portion of our program, and I have decided to do the Shetland pony. I've never really thought about where they've originated, and some of this is kind of cool. Have either one of you ever had a Shetland pony in your life?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they're in a class all by themselves. So they're originally from Scotland, from the Shetland Islands, located northeast of the mainland. They're actually considered small horses that have been around since the Bronze Age. And I will let you know, I didn't know what the Bronze Age was. I kind of figured what it would be. It is when they were making bronze to work with stuff. I don't know if you guys knew that, but I found it kind of interesting. They were originally influenced by the Celtic pony that was brought to the island by settlers. And because of the harsh climate and scarcity of food, they became very hardy animals. And if you've ever had one, you will know they are tough little beings. Their jobs have ranged from pulling carts and carrying peat seaweed to traveling to Britain to be pit ponies, and even working underground hauling in coal mines in the States, which I thought was kind of cool. The Shetland Pony Stud Book is the breed society for the traditional Shetland pony, and it's for the entire world, all the characteristics and everything you can find if you want to find out more about them. Their main characteristics is that they're hardy and strong. They have a small head, widely spaced eyes, small alert ears, and a short muscular neck matched with a stocky, compact body. I thought this was interesting. They have short legs, and they have actually a shorter than normal cannon bone in relation to their size. I didn't know that. Their mane and tail is well matched with a dense double winter coat for harsh weather conditions. So obviously in the summer, it's probably still as coarse, but in the winters, because of the harsh winters, they get a dense coat. And it's funny, they were referred to often as unkempt looking, which I think is just funny. And
think of a Thelwell pony.
Yes, exactly. That's a good analogy. And it is not unusual for them to live up to 30 years, and I think probably even beyond that. And as mentioned, earlier, I mentioned that they had many uses, and today that remains the same. They're children's riding horses. They work at fairs and at carnivals, driving and pulling, and they're commonly seen at petting zoos and used for therapeutic riding. And this was, I thought, the most incredible thing that I learned is that there's actually a Shetland Pony Grand National in the UK. Search it, because it is the funniest thing I have ever seen, because it's just a bunch of these fat little things, running as quickly as they possibly can. And lastly, they come in a variety of different colors. They can come from paints to bays. Tigger, what color was yours?
Black.
Yeah, I had a black one too. And I don't know if you remember the one I had for Hannah. I can't remember his name, but I think his name was Hank. And he was black, and he was just hardy, and he was probably 100 years old, but he was Hannah's first pony. And, my most favorite thing and most horrible thing is watching little kids ride them, and they just duck their shoulder and the kids just go toppling off.
Yeah.
I think that's genetic in the Shetland pony. I really do. Yeah. The shoulder kid falls off.
I think they breed for that. That's what I think.
Yep.
But lastly, it is that a good pony is hard to find. So when you get a good one, you keep it and value it, because those, I've seen more kids get raised as become good riders on solid, just wonderful Shetland ponies. Tiggers, what was yours name?
Black Pootie.
Oh, you need to explain that.
Yeah, can you elaborate, please?
It was buy a farm, get a Shetland pony free.
Oh, wow. So you got it in Virginia.
Yes, and she had been taught to drive, so I drove her in a little cart. It was, just like a two-wheeler, and I drove.
Right.
Yes. And The problem was that if you stopped and got off, she wouldn't just sort of stand there while you talked to somebody or did something or picked up something. She just turned around and trotted home.
Oh my
Oh my
god.
God. That sounds like a Shetland pony.
That sounds like a
Sounds
Shetland pony.
exactly like
That is so funny.
Yeah.
The Shetland pony we had, okay, we were clueless. Buy a farm, get a pony kind of thing.
Yeah.
We
Mhm.
had no idea. We know literally nothing about a horse. And the pony was free. And the saddle that we got with him was $5.
Oh,
And I,
so the saddle was
I remember going along
Oh.
with my dad to go get the pony. And he was in a big old Pennsylvania bank barn, all the way in the back of the barn. And it
Oh,
was in
boy.
the big run in section where they would have put the heifers. So it was this giant pen, it was probably 30 by 20 feet. He was all the way in the back, and all I could see was two glowing eyes.
Oh,
But that pony was
That's
awesome. And he lived to, he was at least 30, if not more. He lasted
Yeah.
forever. And he taught every kid everything they needed to know about a pony. He was awesome.
Pootie kind of she lost some of her sight and she lost her hearing, and she must have been in her mid-20s when we got her, and she lived till she was like 34 or 35.
Wow, that's
And-
awesome.
And we ended up calling her grandma, and
Oh God.
we just let her free range around the house,
Oh, that's
and
so fun.
which was close to the barn, and the UPS drivers would come up and they go, there's a loose horse. We go, oh no, that's just grandma.
Just
Just-
grandma.
Yeah.
Toot the horn and
That's
she'll
Judy.
get out of the way.
Oh, that is too funny.
Oh my gosh. Well,
Yeah.
if you have Shetland pony stories or other little pony stories or terrorizing pony stories, we'd love to hear about them. Head on
Yeah.
over to Healthy Critters Radio Facebook page, or you can drop me an email at jennifer@horseradionetwork.com, and maybe sometime we'll talk about more pony stories that you share with us.
I'd love it.
Cut there. Perfect. Look at that. Perfect timing.
Black. That is so funny.
Black
Oh, I
Pootie.
love it.
It's really hilarious. Ours was named Blackjack.
Oh,
Yeah.
And so was yours black as well? Because mine, the one we had for Hannah was black, and then we had Lucky Me, who was a paint. We had two. The first one, I think his name was Hank. I don't know. I just can't remember, but he was black.
Yeah. He was, I think he was technically a paint. He was all black with three white legs and a snowball on his neck. He had a white snowball on his neck.
Oh, cool.
And it was literally the size of a grapefruit, and that was splotch right there. But he had three white legs, and so he had been trained fancy by somebody before he ended up in the back of the cow barn. Because we got him home, and people who knew a lot more about a horse than we did. Well, we were in 4-H kids. We took him to the 4-H club meeting, and he knew how to park. He knew how to drive. He knew how to pick up his leads. He knew all these things,
Wow.
and he was a free pony in the back of a cow barn. But we were clueless, and he went blind in one eye. He probably the reason he ended up in the back of the cow barn was because he had moon blindness in one eye. So they probably,
yeah.
probably just said, "Oh, we'll just dump him," because they couldn't show him anymore. But 4-H didn't care, and
Oh,
we,
yeah.
we just did everything on that little pony. He was awesome.
Trigger warning. This segment contains mention of sudden and traumatic loss of loved ones with a focus on grief. Feel free to fast forward to 44 minutes 22 seconds if this content isn't what you need today.
This is Tigger's Corner, aka Critter Nutrition, and the subject is grief. Something that we all share, whether it's for a horse or a dog or a cat or a human. I call it one day at a time. In the month of May, I lost one of my best friends, dressage judge Carter Bass. She fell, hit her head in her house, and passed away. 2 weeks later, my life partner, Peter, complained of not feeling well and went to lie down. When I checked on him 2 hours later, he had passed. Am I dreaming this? I want to wake up right now. Is Carter really gone? Is Peter really dead? I'm imagining this, making it up. My worst fear is this is not real. Peter just took a trip. He's coming back. I need to call Carter. Is this really happening? The Wednesday morning that Peter died was a normal Wednesday. Everything about it was normal, from him making coffee to me feeding the dogs, to watching the wild birds on the feeders and answering emails. Then, a few hours later, what was normal was gone. The new reality was here, and I was so utterly unprepared. A Wednesday I will never forget. I just wanted to stay under the covers. I wanted the world to stop. Why wasn't the sun grieving with me? My mind went from denial 1 minute to complete brain fog the next, and then to a kind of catatonic state. I didn't want to talk or communicate. And underneath it all, in the dark, heavy earth of my grief, the lingering questions. How will I survive this? And what is my new reality? There were horses to water, dogs and chickens to feed, bird feeders that needed filling, a vegetable garden to tend to, and BioStar. I did a consultation 2 days after Peter passed, and it was a relief, a sense of normal again, of doing what I do because that is my life. And even though Carter and Peter are gone, I still have what I do, and that is an immeasurable blessing. The BioStar team leaped into action, and I felt their incredible support, holding me up from disappearing under the covers. Their collective empathy, compassion, and strength was and is the energy I ride on these days. Compartmentalizing. My ex-husband used to tell me I'd be a good pilot because I was good at compartmentalizing. The ability to isolate issues and keep myself moving forward, looking forward, thinking forward. The ability to get on with it. This skill, or more specifically, coping defense mechanism, has served me well, I think. But suddenly I found myself in a place of fear, loss, and sorrow, and rather than compartmentalizing it, I am sitting in it. The message I keep receiving is feel all of it. The heaviness, the weight of it, the scary parts, the painful parts, the inertia parts, the overwhelmed parts, the need to be alone parts, the I don't give a damn parts, the why did this happen part, the poor me, the memories, the now vacant space Peter and Carter once occupied. Don't push it all away. Feel it, soften into it, trust. This is your now. The heart has reasons that the mind doesn't know. Feelings are complicated, and for me, not as nearly as precise as my mind, nor as practical. Being able to find what I call a neutral place of observation, compassion, and listening is how I do consultations, be a good friend, work with the animals, listen to the trees, and hopefully be a good business owner. Being in that neutral space allows me to hear my intuition, create new formulas, and problem solve. Crying does not come easily for me, and right now I am cried out. The well is dry, but the feelings are not. The new normal. In truth, I was complacent. I took Peter and our life together for granted. He and I became friends in 1982. Carter's and my friendship began in 1988, and I took her friendship for granted. Peter would always be with me. Carter would always be a phone call away. I have lurched from how do I survive this to what do I want my new normal to be? I don't know. I have no pictures. I have made little changes, like taking Peter's 2 favorite coffee containers, a mug and a china cup, and putting them in the dishwasher, something he refused to do in the 13 years we lived together because he felt that the chemicals of the dishwashing detergent affected the taste of his coffee. So he hand washed, and I use that term loosely, his mug and coffee cup every day. When I took them out of the dishwasher, they sparkled. And that made me smile and whisper, neener, neener, neener. I have rehomed half of Peter's flock of chickens, including the rooster who attacked me 3 times since Peter's passing. It's easier with only 9 hens to take care of instead of 20. Originally, I thought I would rehome the whole group, but in the end, I just couldn't. And I'm glad there are still hens here. Peter loved his birds. What got lost for me in the shock and the sorrow was the magic. I was so deep in grief, I forgot about that invisible force that flows through everything. It took an old grandmother walnut tree, a hummingbird, and a flicker woodpecker to remind me of the magic, the messages, a way of being, and a way forward in the now. No matter how large the void Peter and Carter left, there is still magic. And the blessings. Carter and Peter passed quickly, without hospitalization, without treatments, without tubes and machines. They left behind a pirate's chest full of memories. Even Jack Sparrow would feel rich. My biological family, my BioStar family, customers, Peter's 2 kids, and my friends continue to be the supporting waters I swim in. I may live alone, but I am not alone. My intuition and perception seem to be operating on a new level. That which I took for granted, I now treasure. I am more aware of the little things, maybe because the grieving process has given me permission to slow down. And the music. Peter and I shared a passion for music. His eclectic range of taste, blasting out of a Bluetooth speaker in his man cave, included opera, Mozart, Debussy, Dylan, Pink Floyd, Leonard Cohen, the Grateful Dead, Aerosmith, Zappa, and Buddhist chants and prayer bells. Although he was a thoroughbred racehorse guy, bought, raced, and sold claiming horses back in the day, he loved the yearly challenge of the America's Grand Prix Quadrille competition held in Wellington, Florida every year. He sent live stream links to friends and his children. He always called me after it was over to give me his assessment of the various music choices of each team, including Team BioStar. He was my greatest cheerleader. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Anthem by Leonard Cohen. Whether we grieve for a horse, a dog, a cat, or a human, we honor the process each in our own way, as it should be.
So needless to say, it's been quite the 2024 for at least 1/3 of the Healthy Critters radio show crew. And I think perhaps a short break is in order.
Hiatus.
A short hiatus. I think a hiatus is a good word.
Yeah.
I think.
Yep.
A little break, a little time to recharge the battery, maybe even get a new battery. You know how your phone battery is?
Solar.
Go solar. I think that right there
That's a great idea.
is the best idea yet. Healthy Critters Radio, the podcast, is going to take the summer off. It's going to be the summer of contemplation, perhaps adventure, perhaps a little recharging, and we will reconvene in the fall with Healthy Critters Radio 2.0.
A new format.
2.0. So if you have things that you would love Healthy Critters Radio to go, oh, you should do this, please reach out to us. You can email Tigger, just go over to biostarus.com and you can email her through the website, or you can reach out to Patty or I. Just email Jennifer at horseradionetwork.com. And if it's her Patty, I'll just forward it on over to her, because Patty, in case you haven't noticed, is not real tech savvy.
Yeah.
What I
Don't
will
even
do,
own a computer, girl.
what I will do is I will print it out and put it in an envelope and mail it to.
I'll just screenshot it and text it to me. I can do that.
She does. Patty is very efficient with the texts. you were right.
I'm,
I will
yeah,
screenshot it and text it to you.
yep, that's perfect. I love that.
So we will sign off for now, and we'll see you in a little bit. Have a nice summer.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.